All right, Laura, let's get started. So I'm going to show you a couple of things, and this one's kind of a big picture, so it's going to be a little more time consuming, I'm afraid, but we're going to try. Um, Let me lay this one out. I'm at my mom's, so it's a little bit different than what I'm used to having. I keep my actions right there. Okay. Layers. All right. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm kind of looking at this, and the color looks a bit off. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my levels and see where they're at. So I'm going to go up to image, and I'm going to go to adjustments, and I'm going to go to levels. And it actually looks pretty good. I could bring a little more color in, like this, like that. But what I like to do is I like to go to options, and it's going to pull this up right here. And you can kind of go through and you can go find dark and light colors, enhance per channel, or enhance monocrast. But you can also tap this neutral to kind of adjust your colors too. And it'll work on all of them except this enhanced brightness. If you hit that, it's automatically going to deselect this snap neutral midtones. So let's go ahead and push that. I'm going to do the enhanced brightness and contrast a little. And then I want to look at it. It really hasn't affected it much. It did pull, like you can see, like right through here. It's made these darks a little better here. So just kind of want to look. There's a weird glare there. Right here, if you can see it. So I'm going to go up here. And yours may not look like this. It may, I'll show you in a minute. It may look like this. And if so, you just go here. And it almost looks like it's already been altered. And I really don't know why. But I'm going to attempt to fix this. And I don't know why it already looks altered. But it does. I'll just get rid of some of this distraction right here. All right. So I want to start kind of looking at skin tones and stuff. And there's so many varying skin tones right through here. And this is a big problem that I have, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you this, is glares on glasses. And what that is, the reason you get that is you got people that wear glasses, like even myself, I wear glasses that don't have an anti-glare film. And if you don't, anytime you get them under any light with those glasses on, it's going to show every time. And unless you have a photo of them without their glasses on that you can cut and paste these eyes right here, they're going to be a pain in the rear to repair. They just are. So with that being said, I mean, you can kind of patch it in and clone it in, but they're not going to look right, and they're almost never can get them to look right. The only other option is to take someone in the family and actually clone their eyes in there. And that's only if they have the same shape and they're looking the same way. And I don't really see one that's similar enough that you could do that with. You can do it. But like, let's go over here and look. You got a couple of people with glasses here. His shadows are here. And you might be able to get those out. Without being too bad. But see, you can still kind of see where that's at. Not as bad, though. But you can kind of remove some of those glares. And kind of get his to where they're looking right. Because it's not directly over his eye. That's where it becomes kind of an issue. And we're actually going to clone that one, and I'm going to show you why. Oh, here's my clone tool. All right, so here's my clone tool. I'm going to bring that down really small. All right, and then I'm going to go to, I want to look at my clone source, and I'm going to flip it. And I'm actually going to take this side of his eye. Hold on. I don't know why that keeps pulling up. Of course it'll clone over there. Ah! Not what I wanted it to do. Alright, we're going to try this again. And I got it off. Alright, and then I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to kind of clone through here some. I don't like the way that looks. I don't know why it's doing that, but I don't like the way it looks. Let me turn the flow down some. Alright, let's try this one more time. I don't know why it's being funny like that. And that's a little better there. It still has a little bit of a glow there and a little bit of a glow there, but that's fine. It still looks realistic. So, and it doesn't stand out so much from the other pictures. So I kind of just want to go through and kind of look at everybody. And this is, you can tell, like, even though, see this picture, I had it zoomed in at 20, let's see, at almost 200%. And at 200%, it's extremely pixelated. And that's a problem when you're trying to do editing. It's because once you zoom back out, let's see if I can get it to about 100. I'm trying to get it as close to 100 as I can. That's pretty close. Okay, so view, fit on screen. You kind of lose a lot of definition facial features right here because this is how at its biggest size. So if they want it any larger than this, it's going to start pixelating. So we can do a lot of things in this one because it's not going to be, they're not going to have it zoomed out like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to filter, and I use a filter called Noiseware. And what that kind of does is it kind of smooths some of those pixelations. You see it here. So it's not as bad. And it becomes more of a smoother transition in some of these little tight areas. And It's even going to smooth out some of the skin tones a little bit. Okay. I have to look because she's got some of my actions, but she doesn't have all of them. Okay. So the next thing that I'm going to look at is I'm going to go to my Ultimate Enhancement collection. And I got this one from Urban Bloom. And I think I bought the whole collection for like maybe $10, 10 or 15 bucks. And I got it when they were having a really good deal, which they have good deals like that all the time. And they'll give you like all the Photoshop actions that they have on for Photoshop and sometimes Lightroom. And you can get a collection of over 500 actions and stuff for both for not very much. So the next thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to do a color boost and see how that pulls their colors in. It kind of adds a little more blue to the suits, a little more peach or pink to the dresses, and that helps. You could also do a slight pop or a clean color, and I can turn this one off and we can try those and see which ones look better. There's the clean color there, and again it added that blue back in, and even the peaches. And then we'll try the slight pop. And the slight pop actually looks pretty good too. It gives it a really smooth, rich color. And that's really, for me, that's what I like. I like those rich tones. So I'm going to actually do that. And since I've got those layers turned off, it's not going to show those. And I can just go down and flatten image. Discard hidden layers. Okay, now I talked a lot about adjustment layers with you, so I'm going to kind of touch on those. I don't see a lot that needs to be done on this. So adjustment layers are down here. You're going to go down here, and these are all considered adjustment layers. So I can affect one color without affecting the other colors in here. Let's go to selective color. So this would only affect the reds that are in here, and I'm going to kind of zoom out so you can tell. I want to pull some of the yellows down in here because it looks really yellow in places, and I know that it probably didn't have that. So I'm just kind of playing with those yellows. I don't want to make anybody appear too red, so I got to be kind of careful with that. See, if I pull this over, you get really reds, and I don't really want that really reds. I just want some pretty bronzes. So that adds that adjustment layer. So if okay, I can do this also with levels, curves, brightness, and I want to show you something kind of neat. Let's try this one. So I can pull the reds down a bit. I can even bring them up. Okay, but I don't want this to affect the entire picture. What I really want this to affect, and I'm going to show you, is this little area right here. Because we know that's going to match the girls' dresses quite beautifully. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that on there. And this right here, if it didn't have this, you would push this and it would give you that. But what that allows you to do is select where you want that to be. So what I would do is I'm going to go to my brush. Oh, hers is so different than mine. Let me do it this way. I'm going to use my brush tool, and I'm actually going to push Control I, and that's going to invert, that's going to take it off, but I can paint it back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the white, and I'm just going to start painting this back in. And I'm just going to try to get it in a little tighter. So I'm going to take my brush size down and I'm going to go kind of through there. Make sure I get all of that so that it pulls that color in. And I don't know that I like the color, so I can go here, click it, and I can adjust it a little more. See, I can see where I didn't adjust it there. So I'm going to go fix that. Even though it's not supposed to be blue, but I can see it now where I need to color better. And then I'll come back and I'll adjust that to the color that I want. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Got a little place right there and one right here. Okay. All right, so now that I've got those kind of painted in where I want them, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to adjust this. Kind of like that. All right, and I can even take the opacity down some to make it not as bright so that it kind of blends with the photo a little better. And that's really what I'm wanting. I'm wanting it to blend better. Okay, so now that I've got that, I'm going to create a new layer and I'm going to put it on soft light. I could actually do this another way. Let me show you another way to do that. So I could take this and I could duplicate the layer. All right, and it's going to say background copy. All right, and I could actually take it and screen, and that's going to make that lighter. And then I could pull it down to where I want to adjust the brightness, but I don't want to do that. I just want to show you that you can do that. And that's when you have the shadows on the couple's face, that's how I went through and kind of adjusted that. But on this particular photo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to turn it to soft light. And then I'm going to go right here. I'm going to change it to white because I'm assuming that, I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure this over here behind them was probably white. And I don't want it all the way up, but when I go in and start, I'm going to do that. And it's going to kind of, you see how it's kind of brightening that? Okay, I'll go back over here. And then I'm going to just kind of bring that down with that. And I saw where I had gotten some a little on his head, and I'm just going to kind of go over that, make sure it's not affecting their colors. So this gives it a more of an even tone. I don't know what's going down over here on the floor. Maybe that's the color of the peach. But that kind of just gives them all an even tone. There are ways to remove glares, to blow off blemish, or blur blemishes and things like that. Like here, he looks like he's got a spot right there, and I want to kind of. I got to go back to my main layer to do that, but go back to my main layer and kind of get that out some. And like, see here, he's kind of got a glare there, and I can go in and kind of even this out a little bit so that his skin tone looks a little more even. And hers is beautiful. I love her makeup on this. But you want to give them the most flawless skin that you can, especially in things like wedding photos and stuff like that. You want, and it's a lot of times it's hard. Like I've got a sister that's got a skin condition, and it causes her to have red splotches, and I take pictures of her quite regularly because I get a lot of practice trying to even out her skin tone. And most everybody has pretty beautiful skin tone. Sometimes you get these weird highlights, especially if they're not wearing matte makeup. You'll find you'll get these really, really shiny spots where if they wear highlighter, like I'm a big highlighter person. I love my highlighters. But it reflects the lighting off the camera, and it causes these little spots that will just make everything look really shiny, and it makes their face look kind of oily. And you don't want their face to look oily. You don't want them to be so distracted by the light coming off of their face that you don't get to appreciate the actual beauty of the image itself. And see, you have to be really, I'm gonna try to do this one. There we go. But you have to be really careful about removing highlights at the end of noses, because everybody should kind of have a highlight at the end of their nose. If you start removing those, it can make a face look really funny real fast. So, but she's probably got a little highlighter on right here. You can see it. But see how it messed her nose up there, so I don't want to take that off. I'm going to kind of leave that one. Now I'm just kind of going through and looking at everybody's faces. And it's just the shape of your face, the way it catches the light. And some people's catch it perfectly, and other people's don't. So we want to pull as much of that out as possible without making things look weird. And that pulled like a lot of that glare that was right there that gives that sharp appearance. That pulled that off of his face. And so that helped. And let's just keep moving right along. And some of this will be more of opinion. Like, I wasn't there, so it's hard for me to say. But if you get a groomsman or a bride that's got a blemish, you know, they kind of want you to remove those things. They kind of get upset when you don't. They want to have beautiful skin on their perfect day, and they want everybody in their pictures to look wonderful. So if they miss a spot shaving, or you know, whatever the case may be, you want to do your best to try to help that out. So on this one, I'm going to try this again. Okay, so clone tool. We're going to try this again. Okay, so okay. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to line up as close as I can to the eye and kind of paint outwards as much as possible. And then on this one, I'm going to, again, try to get it at the eye, because this kind of helps you keep them even. And kind of, and that kind of brought his eyes back into focus a little bit without, eye glares are one of my most hated things. I'll be real honest with you. It's one of the worst things to have to repair, and I absolutely hate it. But we're going to make an attempt to kind of make that try to make it not as noticeable. So the next thing I'm going to do, let me take this off. And I'm going to turn the flow down on that about there. And I'm just going to kind of paint in. Okay, so I'm going to make a new layer to do this on because I don't want it to affect everything. So, all layers. Alright, so let's try this again. And that allows me to kind of bring that down a little bit so that it blends a little better. So, what I will tell you is this. If you can avoid messing with glasses and glares, by all means. I take my glasses off when I take pictures because I hate that glare and I hate to fix it. So, I try to avoid that at all costs. I just absolutely will not mess with that because it's not fun to repair in any shape, form, or fashion. So, I just try to avoid that as much as possible. Because it's just not fun. Let's see how he looks now. He's got a weird glare over there that's not. It may just be better to leave that glare on him. And unless you've got another photo with him, it's going, and where the glare is in a different spot or something, then you could take it and you could transplant his face or the glasses or something like that. It's just going to be a hard thing to kind of fix. And we have narrowed it some, but it's still, I mean, you could work on that and try to get that a little better, but it's just, it's going to look weird. So I'm going to, and that's where it was. So that's kind of where I'm going to leave it because it looks natural, but it's just, that's one of those things. It's kind of a judgment call, and you can try to get it better. And if it looks good, like some of the ones over here that I did, they were a lot easier because the glares weren't as bad, and he's got his eyes closed. But if you have another picture with him with his eyes open, you can transplant that, and he'll look natural. His wasn't that bad. I'm actually going to try to do this. and give this a little more natural look there. Oh, not that far. So, like I said, most of photo editing is a judgment call. I do have a beautiful thing that I do want to show you. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to collapse my layers so that they're flattened. This is a wonderful thing, especially, I think I used it on the last one that I did for you. Let me go through and show you this. And it's called Retouch Essentials. And it's got one in here that is called Skin Smoother. And you just go and push play. And it's going to do this. It won't take very long. All right. And then all I've got to do is go in and touch where I want it. So this is what I used on her skin before, and it really gave her a beautiful skin glow, which the picture was a little bit higher quality, I think. But all it does is just smooths and kind of lightens the skin a little. And you can kind of see a little better on this one. And you can really use this on anything. Clothes. Sometimes I use it on clothes to kind of help dull a wrinkle or, you know, it's not, I don't know why, but clothes just don't want to always sit right. But when you have real uneven skin tones, this is great because it kind of just brings it all together. Like this. And it kind of helps dull some glares too. So it just gives it a real photo finished look. Let's see. But I do believe this is one of the ones I used on her previously. To kind of help that out. And I believe I use it some on him too because he gets a lot of glaring on his face. And you see this, his skin tone right in this one area over here. I'm going to actually go in and try to blend that a little bit. I need to get back on my other layer. And that can kind of blend that so that he doesn't have that harsh. Let me go back and show you again where it was at. But you see how he's got this really harsh line here? I just want to kind of bring that down some so that it kind of blends with the rest of his skin tone. Gives him a really good skin tone look. Like this. But this will pull a lot of color difference and imbalance in skin tones. And we all have them. Like, I have freckles and it really messes with my skin tone sometimes taking a picture. And you don't have to do it this smooth. I'm just kind of just showing you how it works real quick. You can even bring this down. And you can do each person individually if you want. It's really just to your preference and what you want to do. I'm just going to pull it back up. And just kind of give it and even look like this. Like I said, that's probably a little much. I would actually pull it down a little bit. Probably about there. Just kind of give it an even tone and even look. That overall looks pretty good. Do you see something? That's a button. But overall, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to also do an adjustment layer um, for selective color. And I want greens. Because the reason is I really want the greens and their greenery and the flowers to kind of to pop. I feel like they need to pop a little more. And I'm going to invert that. That's not what I meant to do. Okay. And invert that, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to kind of paint them in. Just because you want to brighten it up a little. And you can even do this for the yellows, or you can paint them in just directly. It's up to you. Whatever you think is going to look the best, but I'll show you the other way. So the other way would be to go in, do a soft light layer, and pick your color. Or it's somewhere in there. And I saw a flower that was open right there. And I can kind of go in and just lightly paint. Oh, I hit the wrong color. So, oh no, I want a little brighter. So about like that. And I can go in and kind of, I want that on soft light so that you can see through it. Let's pull that back out and have a look. Let's see how that looks. But see, it kind of gives, you got a little yellow there, a little yellow there. But it kind of gives a little more dimension to the photo and helps kind of bring it all together. So I hope that helped. I know this video is a little long, but I kind of just wanted to touch on a few things and show you how to do a few things. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to help you out. Bye.